Hello, welcome to another episode of Ask the Wizard, streaming live almost daily. How the universe plays Let's Make a Deal
with us.
Understanding how the game is played and how to win. Starting the 5-minute timer now. We'll see you in... Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Ask the Wizard, streaming live almost daily. How the universe plays Let's Make a Deal. Let's Make a Deal. I think it's still on TV. When I watched it, it was, I don't know if we had color TV then. When I was a kid, we had color TV, or maybe it was still black and white. And Monty Hall was the name of the guy, and it was this game show called Let's Make a Deal that involved 3 doors, right? And what are those doors all about, Rusty? How you doing, man?
Hey, I am doing good. Looking forward to the show today. Yes, today is all about 3 doors and let's make a deal. Doors just like these. Door number 1, door number 2, door number 3. So from what I understand, and I've just got, as usual, sort of teasers from Russ, we can use these doors as a little bit of a template for understanding and navigating our own spiritual walk. And that typically we start with, in this case here, the yellow door, and then as we grow and mature, we move to the red door, and then as we grow and mature, we move to the blue door, each one of them having their own unique characteristics and challenges and rewards. So I'm thinking this is going to be a real interesting show. So how about we move over to Rust and play Hey, Let's Make a Deal.
Okay. Door number 1. So Monty Hall, or I think it's Drew Carey now, but anyway. Door number 1. Here's what door number 1 looks like. And this often happens in the beginning of our journey. Source, universe, higher self, pick your label. It opens the door and it shows us what's behind the door. And what's interesting, why this aligns with a game show, is this is often what would happen is some of these doors would be open and you could see what it was. Some of these doors weren't. And you could sort of have what you could see Or you could choose door number 2, but you couldn't see what's behind it, right? So it fits in really well with this. So door number 1, or the yellow door, I think is the one color it was. This often happens more and more. Need more coffee. When you're beginning your journey. So what Source does, the label I'm going to use for today, is Source opens the door, shows you what's on the other side. And Source says, okay, here is what's on the other side. And here is what you need to do. Often not that specific, but these are your steps, whatever they are. And there's going to be some challenges, but you can see what's on the other side of the door. And it makes the challenges easier, because even though challenges aren't always fun, they're really not designed to be fun. You could see what was ahead. You could see, okay, this isn't fun. This is challenging. This really sucks, or something like that. But again, you can see what's on the other side of the door. So, okay, I can see where I'm going to. Here we go. And that often happens in the beginning of our journey.
Okay, yes, I agree. I've experienced the same thing. I know when I first started, I was really green to this. And the personal and spiritual growth that I was stepping into, looking back at it now, it was, the challenges, I would call them minor, but they sure didn't feel that way back then. But being able to see what was on the other side of that door and realizing that I was the one that had to walk through it, but at least I could see what was on the other side of it. It really, really did help. So I understand that. What about the next door?
The next door, door number 2. In door number 2, what Source will do is Source will tell you what's on the other side of the door, but won't let you see it. And Source would say, here's what's ahead for you. This is sort of the next stage. And even though I'm not going to open the door so you can see it, this is what's on the other side of it. So door number 1, the first door, the door was open. We could see what's there. Now we're on to door number 2. Now door number 2 is, universe says, this was on the other side of the door. You still have to open the door to get to it. But sort of trust me, this is what's there. And while the challenges will probably be greater, this is what's going to be waiting for you when you open that door.
Okay, I understand. So the challenges get greater. So does that mean they get harder too?
Well, not necessarily harder. In the beginning, you see, because you have more momentum, you have more skill. You'd mentioned earlier, Rusty, how you said looking back, those initial challenges, I mean, they weren't that big a deal, but back then they felt that way. And that's often what happens is we kind of start with the little things, these smaller challenges that don't feel small, especially when you're beginning. And then there's, again, the reward, if you want to call it that. And then as we grow and mature, you see, we get some momentum, we get some experience, we get some knowledge, we get some understanding. We go through the door, right? We go through the door a variety of times, and we kind of understand that path. And while it's not always comfortable, we get through to the other side. And now with door number 2, the challenges get greater, but because we've got the experience and momentum, right, they're not so much harder. And again, even though we can't see it, we're being told what's on the other side of the door.
Okay, so we've talked about the yellow door, we talked about the red door, door number 1, door number 2. Let's move on to the third door, or in our picture, door number 3.
Well, door number 3 is the interesting one. Because with door number 3, Source doesn't open it like in door number 1. Source won't even tell us what's on the other side of it like it does in door number 2. But what Source says in door number 3, Source says, trust me. Trust me that what's on the other side of the door is worth every challenge, every difficulty, every obstacle that you're going to have to go through, around, over, under to get to what's in the door on the other side of door number 3. But I'm asking you to trust me that it'll all be worth it. And that's the one that in so many ways changes everything.
So, changes everything. So, can you explain what you mean by that?
This is where you really, really learn about the depths of trusting, of faith, of choosing to believe, even though you can't necessarily see what you're believing in. Choosing to walk, even though you don't know exactly what all the next steps are, but you take the first steps, trusting that what's on the other side of that door is going to be worth every challenge, every difficulty that you have to walk to. Door number 3 is not knowing how long it's going to take. You see, in door number 1, you can see what's on the other side. You can go, okay, well, that'll take me however long. And even in door number 2, because you've gained some experience in door number 1, right? In door number 2, you've got that description. So you might, you might not know all the steps. You might not know exactly how long it will take, but you can still kind of get a bit of an idea. You see, with door number 3, you get none of that. With door number 3, Source would simply offer you the opportunity to take those steps, to purposely step into the challenges and the difficulties and the obstacles and all that crazy cool stuff, even though you have no clue what's on the other side. But Source would say, trust me. I'm asking, not demanding, not commanding. Trust me that what's on the other side of that door is going to be 10 times, 100 times, infinitely time worth every challenge that you're going to walk through to get to it. And I think that's when, boy, I tell you, that's when we really mature deeply. We refine ourselves. It's like tempered steel. Right, tempered steel, you heat it up, and I don't know all the details, but you heat the steel up, and then you bang, 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 and you heat steel up, and bang, 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 bang again, right? You temper it, you refine it. And that's why it really changes everything, because it separates you so much from the normals. See, because the normals, they want door number 1. Right? They want to see what it is. They want to map out their path. They want to be able to gauge their path. And some of them, okay, door number 2, well, no, okay. I mean, I can't see it, but we'll just keep, we kind of have an idea. But door number 3 is really the one that I think very few people, it's a place in our growth that very few people choose to go. Because you see, and this is just coming in now, you see so often, interesting. I know I don't have Mr. Flipchart connected, otherwise I'd bring him in. I'm just this is coming in just now. Moving from door number 1 to door number 2, we're gaining things, we're adding to. And so it's kind of just 1 and then an expansion of a 1, if you want to call it that. With door number 3, so much of that process is now not so much gaining, it's the appearance, at least, of losing. Because there are so many things, better word, encumbrances, aspects of ourself that once served us and maybe don't anymore, often never served us in the first place. Those accoutrements that we've gained, both physically, things and stuff, and even non-physically, reputation, praise, all those type of things, right? That moving into and through door number 3, I'm not saying we lose them all, but we lose a lot. And I think this is why, two things. This is why it's reserved. I mean, it's offered to everybody, but it's reserved for the very few. Because once you've gained all this stuff, the acclamation and the bank account or whatever, right? It's challenging to let go of that for something that you can't see it. You don't even know what it is, right? I mean, if you had this and you really, oh, this is amazing. I cherish this thing. It's just so wonderful, so wonderful. And then if Source would say, yeah, but look what's behind door number 3 is 10 times better than this thing that you find really amazing. Oh, well, that's not so bad then, right? To let go of this in exchange for this. But what we're being asked or offered is let go of this in exchange for, trust me, it'll be worth it. That's a place I think very few people are able to go. And I've seen enough, but at the same time, I'm choosing that the glory, I'm just thinking back to a Got a Minute video I did years ago. What's on the other side of door number 3 is worth not only everything we've gained, but it's also worth everything we've lost and choose to let go of in exchange for what's behind door number 3. But that's the game changer. Deepak Chopra is the one I first heard say this. I believe he uses the word universe. It really doesn't matter what label you use. The universe is not only stranger than you think, it's stranger than you can think. And I think that's what door number 3 is about. I think part of the reason that Source doesn't tell you what's behind door number 3 is you probably wouldn't believe it. Or if you did, you probably couldn't really internalize it because it's so much more than even you can imagine. It's like the best of the best that you can imagine pales in comparison to what's on the other side of the door. So it's almost in our best interests. The Source doesn't show us what's on the other side of the door. 2 primary reasons for that. The first one is we never believe it in the first place. The second one is even if we did, because we have no earthly clue how it can ever come to pass, we're not even going to start down that journey. So I think sometimes be thankful that Source hasn't shown you the magnitude of the glory that's waiting for you. Because, as I said, you probably wouldn't believe it, and you might not even start down the path because you think there's no way that I could experience that. And that's where those words, trust and faith, just taking the first steps, even if you don't know where you're headed, really come into play. Okay. Anything else, Russ?
No, I think that's it. I really like the last piece, that bit of inspired teaching that showed up, because I think that's a really valuable understanding. I really like the piece about door number 1 to door number 2, you're gaining, but door number 2 to door number 3, you're going to end up at least having the appearance of releasing or losing some of those things we've gained in exchange for something so much greater. I really like that.
Yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that too. That was quite powerful, actually. All right. Share. We're all in this together. See you on the web.